change us. I'm told that there's going to be a huge wave of something that's going to change our whole reality that will come soon, you know? I mean, even though it's like we're being lied to, in a sense, by people that we're supposed to trust, some of those people are doing it for our best interest and are trying to change it. And some of those people are not. And it just depends on how, you know, we're going to have to wait, I guess, is the thing. We just have to wait for the energies to change, because it's going to trigger in a lot of people this massive Christ consciousness awakening thing. And for those people will be able to help change the world. They'll be able to work better. There'll be a lot of people right now are good people that are being held down and forced to stay small because they could make too big a difference in the world. And those people won't be able to be held down anymore. They're going to be given their gifts and their light, and they're going to be able to make a difference soon, you know, because there won't be these forces that want to keep the world in this state of darkness, okay? And these forces, like when it comes to these, they're geometry. They're basically the way the stars are positioned in relation to us. And so even an ascended master wouldn't really be able to change that. They would only be able to wait it out. You know, there's limitations to everyone's power, but like even an ascended master would have to wait that out, and we're getting through it. Like we're almost at the end of the Kali Yuga. We're definitely over the tipping point to where we're crossing over into Aquarius, you know, and this is partly a lot of what we're seeing, and it takes 500 years to fully cross over. Okay, so we've been crossing over for a long time, but about now I believe is when we're really crossing into going over into it. So I think that this is why for the last several decades we've been seeing stuff, you know, like the 60s brought so much peace and love, you know, and, you know, there was still a lot of ignorance, of course, you know. Those people were incredibly ignorant of a lot of truths, but they wanted to be better and they wanted to wake up, you know. And it brought civil rights. It brought a lot of things. And I think that these are a sign of things, plus some other magicians, hi guys, who may have been working also on helping the world, like Jack Parsons, if anyone's interested in him. A lot of people think that he did actually change the world and that he created some of the things from the 60s. But I do think a lot of it's just the age is changing and things like that. But right now, all we can do is just meditate, do energy work, literally just sit there, breathe through your nose and breathe in light energy and hold it in you, okay? And then when you breathe out, see the darkness leaving you. Do that for 5 minutes a day and you'll be better off, okay? Just do that kind of thing. Just do that, do meditations, work with yourself, and you'll be much, much safer. Your angels will protect you, and they will lead you to the places that you need to be, and not where, like, you're going to get hurt or going to get sick. The only reason people in those situations, if the only way you're going to get hurt is if you already signed up before you were born to get hurt. And that's, you probably wouldn't be listening then. But, you know, if you're meant to live, you're going to be okay. It's a video game, basically. And you have helpers around you to guide you through it. But it's a video game, and you're the central character of your game. So you're always going to be safe. Even if you die, you would wake up, and it would just be the end of your game, and you'll be safe. It's just scary when it happens, you know? So now let's see. I was going to talk a little bit about timelines. There is a thing I've been concerned for a while that we might actually be in a tangent timeline, and I'm not sure if that's true or not, but there are some remote viewers online who were remote viewing Venus 700,000 years ago, and Venus is it's dead. It's completely dead. There's nothing there. It's just fire. You know what I mean? It's just totally volcanic. But there's new evidence that it was actually livable about 700,000 years ago. So some remote viewers who have a group online did some remote viewing experiments on it. They all came up with very much the same things. And what it was interesting. They saw airports. They saw like what looked like a flying ships, but with dragon heads. Interesting stuff. But they basically saw people. They weren't told what they were looking at. Obviously, they had no idea what they were looking at. They just started seeing, different things that matched up perfectly, and because of them, and different. If you've ever looked at the NASA photographs closely, there's a lot of evidence of civilization, especially on Mars, even some on the moon, and I really think it's possible that we had colonized these planets ourselves, or that other colonists had come in and colonized in our planets and created us, Anunnaki, like that, and that they blew themselves apart, basically. However, I've been told that that they are actually in a time loop, which is one of the reasons they're actually kind of outside of time, and this war is not even over yet, possibly. So if that's the case, we're literally in a tangent timeline, and they're manipulating us in order to solve their war, whichever, and and these people would have been much, much more advanced than us. So if they told us they were from the future, we would believe it because, and if you believe in cyclical time, they are from the future, but they're from the future past. So it's really, it's the way that they answer questions are so weird, Hey, I'm glad to see you. The way they answer questions, like they'll always talk about they're from the future, there's more evidence they're from the past, to be honest, than they're from the future. But there's time loops, and there's mini time loops, and there's big time loops, and it only makes sense if you're like a fourth or fifth dimensional being who lives outside of the timeline, okay? And then you can see these things. You can go back, and you can go back, and you can go back. Just like a video game, you can just go back and back and back and back and keep doing it again. But if you're the character, eventually you start getting crazy levels of deja vu. Oh, it's okay. Eventually start getting crazy deja vu. I mean, crazy deja vu. Okay, and it starts to get like you start to be able to, if you're a person who meditates a lot, if you have your Kundalini awakened especially, and you meditate a lot, you'll start to be able to see through these things eventually. Okay. And I want to teach people that. I want to show you guys how to, meditate and how to raise your energy. I'm not the most love and light person in the world, but I know my stuff, and I'm me. So I can only be the best me I can be, I guess. So, and it's just I want you guys to be safe. If you guys are safe, if you're meditating, if you're talking to your angels, you're gonna be okay. Somebody's gonna look after you. Because you can't look after yourself here. It's like from the perspective of a higher dimensional being, we're like little children, and they just want us to grow so that when we shed these bodies, we become higher beings and we become better beings, and we're stuck in this thing that is probably an echo of some ancient past thing that we keep reliving and recreating in symbolic ways. And it's like, oh, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Hey, they just discovered how to use DNA, the DNA of I believe an amoeba or something like that, to contain information. Okay, so they've literally figured out how to use DNA to encode actual a story or a mathematical problem, anything like that. I've been told multiple times by spirits that we are in a library, that what we are is a library of knowledge. And if you look at the archetypes we live out, the stories we live out, we have this limited number of archetypes we live out, and we have this limited number of stories that we twist around in different ways. Isn't it possible that that our DNA is the library, and that literally all of our instincts just force us to live out these stories that someone built into us? If you were an energy being, well, I'll wrap it up really quick. If you were an energy being and you could transfer your consciousness into different bodies, Wouldn't it be fun to create one that had stories built into it that you could live out? Dangerous, though, because you get stuck in those stories. You start to think you were those stories, just like we do. We think we are our stories, but I guess we're just not. The stories they're the thing that makes being human worth it, I suppose. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here, everybody that was. Thank you guys for listening on Blog Talk. I love you guys. I'm trying to polish my act, so I hope that you guys can get something out of it. I hope that you learn something, and I hope that I get better at expressing myself to you. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.